You know that moment when you look back on your plans and think, well, that took a turn? Yeah, this is one of those videos. 6 months ago, I shared my 2025 knitting goals. Since then, some projects turned out better than I imagined. Others, let's just say, they are quietly left on the list. An unexpected one has actually snuck in. Hi, and welcome to my channel. I'm Mari, a knitter and maker based in beautiful Bergen, where I design and create garments that feel like me, joyful, wearable, and with just the right mix of intention and improvisation. If you are new here, welcome. Around here, patterns are suggestions, not rules. I love tweaking patterns, customizing fit, playing with yarns, and turning each project into something truly personal. Whether you've been knitting for years or just cast it on your first stitch, this is a space for creativity, curiosity, and cozy inspiration. In today's video, I'm giving you an honest look at my Make 9 and my mid-year progress. What I have finished, what I'm working on, and which project I've swapped out for something that sparks a little bit more joy right now. So grab your knitting and let's get into it. So let's start with the most magical part of the past 6 months, my finished objects. And not just any project, one of them might just be the most meaningful thing I've ever knit. Okay, we have to start with the biggest, the wildest, the most personal knit I've ever taken on. My wedding dress. Yep, a full-on hand-knitted, one-of-a-kind wedding dress. And before you ask, yes, there is a whole video about the process because there's no way I can fit the full story into this update. I'll link the video in the description if you want to see the whole journey. The drama, the final try-on, spoiler alert, it did work out. Now, if someone told me a few years ago that I'll be knitting my own wedding dress, I would have laughed. But when I saw Veronica Lindberg's absolutely stunning gown, it suddenly didn't feel so impossible anymore. It was elegant, soft, and so different. And that planted the seed. Of course, I had to make it my own. Veronica's dress inspired me, but I wanted a piece that reflected me, my style, and the day it was meant for. Something delicate, timeless, and meaningful. I used Sunny Sunday in white, a beautiful lightweight wool that has this airy romantic texture, especially when knit on slightly larger needles. The stitch really blooms and it gives the fabric such a soft, dreamy feel. I also love that the yarn is easy to source and had that clean, pure white shade I wanted. Was it a huge project? Oh yes. Honestly, this one piece probably makes up for half of this year's knitting, but it was worth every single stitch. Creating this dress was emotional, it was challenging, and one of the most rewarding experiences I've ever had as a maker. So, if you're curious about how it all came together, or you just want to see the final reveal, definitely check out the full video. I'll dive into the pattern design, the yarn choices, and all of the behind the scenes highs and lows. This wasn't just a dress, it was a memory in the making. Next up, let's talk about the Dory Vest, a much smaller knit, but no less satisfying. This one is a cropped fitted vest with this beautiful round neckline and the cute side ties. The construction is really clever. You start from the top on the back panels and then afterwards you pick up stitches for the front and then it all comes together. You finish with a neat ribbing around the edges and it just feels complete. I used Rauma Fivel in the color 09, a deep, rich blue that is so wearable. Fivel is a Norwegian wool and it's quite rustic, but I love it. But a fair warning, if you're sensitive to wool, this might feel a bit textured on the skin. As always, I knit loosely, so I sized down for the needles to 4mm needles to keep the gauge in check. And honestly, I forgot how time-consuming brioche is. You have to basically knit every row twice, so no wonder it took me 3 months to finish this. But now that it's done, I adore it. It's going to be a staple piece, layered over a crisp white shirt or a turtleneck, maybe even dressed up for work. It's both practical and beautiful, and it's my favorite kind of knit. Now that we've talked about what's off the needles, let's get into what's still on them and what's coming soon. This is the part I love the most. It's the planning, the swatching, the dreaming, the beautiful chaos of being a knitter. First up is the Diona tee. It's a summer knit, and this is almost cheating because I've only started casting it on. There is just something special about knitting in the summer, and this tee is exactly the kind of project I reach for. It's lightweight, it's stylish, and with just the right amount of detail to keep things interesting. It has this gorgeous cable motif down the front and back, balanced with a simple 2x2 ribbing on the sides and sleeves. The result is elegant, wearable piece that feel relaxed. Of course, I'm adding a small twist, just slightly longer sleeves because I prefer a little more coverage even in summer. I am using a silk blend from the Wool Kitchen that I bought at Edinburgh Yarn Fest back in 2019. Yep, it has been marinating in a UFO, and I finally decided it deserves a proper spotlight. The color is just stunning. It's a soft blue with this coppery speckles that shimmers in the light. It's going to make this tee look so polished. The construction is seamless and it's top down, starting with this twisted 1x1 rib that flows into the cables. There's short row shaping for the neckline, and it finishes with a stretchy tubular bind off. Slightly cropped, but you can adjust if you want to. This is one of those pieces that are so easy to throw on, but it looks like you spent hours on your outfit. I have just cast it on, but I can't wait to knit on this one outside in the sunshine this summer. Okay, let's talk about the iris sweater, because this was love at first sight. The pattern is just breathtaking. The color work, the fit, the details, it's all so thoughtfully designed. I'm planning a cropped version to wear with tailored trousers for work. It's going to be cozy, but still polished. Originally, I wanted to use the exact colors from the pattern. And clearly, I wasn't the only one because Holst Garn has been sold out of some of the shades. I've decided to swap out the base for a soft white or maybe a warm beige. And honestly, I'm excited to try Holst Super Soft for the first time. I've heard such good things about it, and I think it's perfect for this project. And it's summer friendly too. The pattern calls for a pretty tight gauge, 28 stitches per 10 centimeters, which is a lot of stitches, and it's all over color work. So what I'll do, I'll swatch with 2.75mm needles, and I'll see where that takes me. I'd rather not go any smaller than that, so if it's too loose, I'll just adjust the pattern. The construction of the sweater is great. It's top down, it's dropped shoulders, and it starts with a double knit cast on that gives that really crisp shoulder edge. The colorwork starts after the neckline shaping, and there are steeks for the armholes. I know steeking sounds scary, but it actually makes the colorwork so much easier to manage. I love that this pattern includes it. This one was also featured in my summer knitting plans video, so you'll definitely be seeing more of it soon. I've already ordered the yarn. Another future cast on that I'm absolutely obsessed with, it's the Dārta by Aine Sang. This design immediately stood out to me. It's soft, it's romantic, and just a little whimsical. With its gentle ruffles and delicate details, it feels like something you'd wear to a garden party or a quiet, cozy evening. The pattern is worked bottom up in reverse stockinette using a combo of fingering and lace weight yarn. It got this subtle dropped shoulder and a clean, elegant silhouette. But the real stars, that's the ruffles. They've added at the end in a contrasting color, and you can really play around with both the placement and the size. This one is queued up for later, but I've already chosen the yarn. I went a little wild on La Bien-Aimée spring sale, but honestly, I have no regrets. I'm using a mohair and a fingering combo, both the Amy's Peaches and Dreams color, dyed in collaboration with One Foundering Flock. Is this peachy rainbow with soft shimmers that will make every stitch feel like magic. The mohair is 80% kid mohair and 20% silk, and the fingering base is 100% extra fine superwash merino. Together, they will create a dreamy fabric with just the right amount of drape and personality. It's going to be a special one, I can already tell. So that's where I'm at. One whip, 2 exciting cast-ons coming soon, and a whole lot of yarn joy ahead. I'm trying to balance some practical wardrobe staples and a few playful, creative pieces, and honestly, that's what I love most about knitting. You get to make exactly what you want. Now, we have covered what's on and off and coming on my needles. Let's talk about the project that are still in the dreaming and scheming stage. You know those patterns you keep revisiting? The ones you've already picked out the yarn, maybe once watched, but haven't quite cast it on yet. That's where we're heading next, into future cast-ons and creative daydreams currently living in my queue. First up is the Diamond Jumper by Anne Wenzel, and oh, this one has completely stolen my heart. The texture, the structure, the twisted raglan details, it's just stunning. It feels both modern and timeless, which is kind of my favorite combination. I already know I'll be making a few tweaks. I'm planning a slightly shorter length, not quite cropped, but just enough to make it feel less oversized and a little bit more me. For yarn, I'm sticking with the blown yarn, just like the pattern suggests. I want something that feels light but still cozy, and I'm currently eyeing 3 gorgeous options. Camarose Snefnugg in teal, Gepard Puno in cobalt, and Rauma Puno in the color 6742. All rich, deep shades of blue and green, tones I haven't used in a while, but I always love. I think they'll really make that cable texture pop. The construction is top down, starting at the collar and with some short rope shaping for the neckline. It flows into the yoke, body and sleeves, all in the round. It's one of those knits that seems like a pleasure to make, meditative, but with enough texture to keep it interesting. I'm dreaming of this as my comfort sweater. It's elegant enough to feel put together and soft and wearable for every day. I can't wait to see those cables grow stitch by stitch. And then there's this beauty, the Nordic Bloom Cardigan by Caitlin Hunter, a total showstopper. This design is bursting with personality. The bold floral motifs are rooted in traditional Scandinavian patterns, but Caitlin's take is modern, playful, and just joyful. It feels like a love letter to Nordic knitting heritage with a fresh twist. The pattern is written for Rauma Fritidsgarn, but I'm leaning towards using Vidde from Hillesvåg instead. It's a touch finer, but close enough in weight that I don't have to mess with the gauge. And Vidde is such a special yarn, a dreamy blend of 80% lamb's wool and 20% pelt wool. You get that gentle fuss and glow from the pelt wool without too much of the scratchiness. It's rustic, but it's soft. It's the best of both worlds. For colors, this is where I'm getting really excited. I'm picturing a warm pink base and a deep plum red for the floral motifs. That combo feels bold, rich, and still super wearable. I think it will make the colorwork completely sing. The cardigan is worked bottom up with stranded colorwork throughout the body. It's designed to be oversized and cozy, but still structured enough to feel intentional. There's even an option to make it as a vest, but I'm all in for the full cardigan version. I haven't casted it on yet, but I already know this project will be a highlight when the time comes. It's going to be a joyful, creative knit that celebrates colors, tradition, and a bit of personal flair. So those are the projects still living in my imagination, but probably not for long. I love having a mix of projects and future daydreams. It keeps my creativity flowing, and it reminds me that knitting isn't just about finishing, it's about feeling inspired. Now, let's talk about a couple of projects that were on my original 2025 knitting list, but are officially getting swapped out. Not because I don't love them, believe me, I do, but because the year goes on and I'm getting clearer on what I actually want to knit right now. And honestly, that's a part of magic of knitting plans. You're allowed to change your mind. One of the projects I was really excited about in January was the Poetry Pullover by Sari Nordlund. The lace yoke is stunning, it's elegant, it's delicate, and absolutely timeless. I've dreamed of making it for so long, and it's still a pattern I truly admire. But this is also one of 2 projects I have imagined in white, and after the sea of white wool of my wedding dress, I'm not up for more than one more white knit this year. And I have something else I really want to cast on. So for now, I'm putting the Poetry Pullover on pause. I'm still dreaming about it, but it's not for right now. So we'll see how things goes. Same goes for the Auguste Sweater by Johanna Gerisch. This one is a cable heaven, and I absolutely love the design. Those raglan cables, the structure, the polish. It's modern, but it's rooted in a classic style, and it caught my eye right away. But again, I find myself hesitating. I already have a white knit I'm really dreaming about. Which brings me to the project I'm officially adding to the list in their place, the Pearl Sweater by Magdalena Parker. This sweater has everything I want right now. It's cozy all over cables that feel relaxed and flowing. It has thoughtful shaping and top-down construction. and really just watch those cables, both the stockinette and the pearl stitch used together. I'm really looking forward to adding that to my wardrobe. And here's what makes it extra special. I'm planning to knit it using leftover yarns from my wedding dress. Saying that just gives me goosebumps. It makes this sweater feel so personal, and it's a kind of a continuation of something really meaningful. The cables, the softness, the special yarn, this is the perfect blend of comfort, creativity, and connection. So yes, the pearl is officially on the list, and I cannot wait to cast it on. So that's the update. Poetry and Auguste are stepping aside for now, and the pearl is taking over their place. And honestly, I feel great about it. Knitting plans should never feel like pressure. They are not a checklist, they are inspiration. And inspiration can shift. I think it's so important to leave space for that. To follow what feels good, to knit for joy, not just out of obligation. And that wraps up my 6-month update on my 2025 knitting plans. Some projects are done, some are in progress, and a few have been swapped out. And honestly, I love how it's unfolding. If you have enjoyed this update and want to follow along with the rest of this year's projects, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I got lots of knitting content coming your way, and if you want to see more of behind the scenes, yarn pics and everyday knitting progress, come hang out with me over on Instagram. If you haven't seen it yet, I have a full video about my wedding dress knitting journey. It's one of the most special things I've ever made, and I'll leave the link right here on the screen. Definitely give it a watch if you want to see the full story. Thanks so much for following along, and as always, keep knitting what brings you joy.